this signals to us that there has been an upheaval of this entire system, this entire way of doing spirituality, this entire way of doing Christianity, according to which God is some object, some sacred object external to us, and we can get to him if we only, tick this box and that box and this, and then do this thing, and, push the right button on the vending machine, and then God will mutually exchange goods and services, quid pro quo, mutual back scratching going on. That entire mentality, that entire system has been put to death in the crucifixion. That is why in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, it says that a new and living way has been inaugurated, has been opened up for us through the veil. That is to say, through his flesh. Okay? The problem with the American gospel, in my opinion, is that it is simply treating Christ as just another Moses, right? It's just changing one expression of do this and live to another expression of do this and live. It's replacing one imperial strong theology with a different one. But it's a lateral move in so many cases. It's not a transformation. It's not an inauguration of a new covenant. It's just the same old covenant with a new guy, with a new spokesman. Now it's Jesus instead of Moses, but it's the same idea. God is a sacred object external to us, and we can get to him and he'll heal all of our problems and heal our marital, financial, emotional struggles. If we just jump through all the hoops that we're supposed to jump through and tick all the boxes and say the right prayers and the incantations, right? This entire way of doing spirituality, Paul argues, has been put to death in the death of God. The veil is rent, and behind it there is nothing. God as sacred object is shown to be an idol. This entire vending machine approach to the gospel has been shown to be a fiction. It's a lie. And this God, who is a deus ex machina, is nothing but an idol. And if that's the case, the strongest, best, most prudent response is that of atheism. Atheism to that idol God, okay? Not atheism like Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and all those guys. Not that kind of atheism. Not the sort of cold, clinical materialistic atheism. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about a theological, spiritual atheism, and sort of anarchical, exilic posture, according to which we say that I am not going to subject myself to another sacred object. I've been on this treadmill, running on this hamster wheel, trying to just get that. I remember when I was younger and I would read about these revivals in the 18th century, 19th century. And I remember reading these accounts of these powerful encounters with the Holy Spirit, supposedly, that people like Whitfield and Edwards and Wesley experienced. And I remember just like wanting that so bad. And you sort of, it's like the prophets of Pharaoh, and the prophets of, Pharaoh. I'm a little rusty, okay? Have patience with me. When Moses is doing his miracles and visiting Egypt with these plagues in order for Pharaoh to let the people of Israel go. The magicians of Pharaoh are trying to replicate this, and they're just crying out and they're cutting themselves. And it's the same thing with the prophets of Baal in 1 Kings or something, 2 Kings, with the prophet Elijah. I told you I'm rusty. Okay, I'm kind of conflating a couple stories here, but you get the point. Elijah builds this altar with a sacrifice on it, and so do the prophets of Baal. They're having like a, prophecy off, or a, divinity off, some sort of contest, And Elijah calls down fire from heaven, and it consumes his sacrifice. And the prophets of Baal are trying to do it, and they're trying to get their God to wake up, and they're cutting themselves and rending their garments and crying out, and Elijah's mocking them. Oh, yell a little louder. Maybe he's in the bathroom. Maybe your God is indisposed. Maybe he's taking a nap. Keep trying. right? That's how it feels when we are constantly trying to avoid the void. That's how it feels when we're constantly trying to just, if I just run a little faster on this hamster wheel, you know? It's like when you know those, I saw this thing with a cat, like somebody made this little harness for a cat. You put it around its neck and it's got this feather on a stick that's like 2 feet in front of the cat's nose, right? And so the cat sees it and he's constantly trying to catch it, right? Or when a cat chases its tail or a dog chases its tail, it's like, this is how it feels when we're just on this treadmill, just trying our hardest to like get that sacred object and get the baptism of the Holy Spirit, get that sense of fulfillment and happiness that we crave so much. That entire way of looking at things is over. It's done. It's expired. God has made a mockery of that entire way of doing spirituality through this new and living way that he has opened up through the veil, which is the flesh of Christ. Okay? And so the deus ex machina that we've been talking about this whole time, and perhaps my next talk will be on this topic of the deus ex machina, what that means exactly. There's an article on my website about it. You can find it pretty easily. But this deus ex machina, this vending machine God that dispenses the goosebumps and happiness and the smiles and, you know, the fairies and the unicorns and the rainbows that we all want, it's an idol. It's a fiction. It's a lie. And the best posture to strike with regard to that is that exilic atheistic suspicion that I talked about before. God is not an external sacred object distinct from us, and there is no button to push to get the, you know, the pellet, the sacred object, the joy, whatever it is that, you know, we want to get. That is not the way it works. That God is an idol, and the sooner we become atheists to that vending machine God, the better.